welcome to The Aside, short conversations with authors just off the page. I'm Valerie Beal. I'm an author myself, but I was trained as a journalist. So this type of interview allows me to channel my insatiable curiosity, which some might call nosiness. Each episode features a focused conversation with an author about their books, where they get their ideas, along with some potentially quirky questions along the way. If you love reading, writing, or simply learning more about some of your favorite authors, you are in the right place. Let's step off the page and begin. Today, I'm joined by author Laurie Stevens, who is also a fellow Blackbird writer, like a lot of the people who have been on the aside with me already this year. You write more than novels, like a lot of other Blackbirds, too. You write short stories. You've written a stage play, right? Not a
Mhm.
screenplay, stage play, which ran for 8 weeks in LA, which is pretty darn cool. Yay, yay. So thanks for joining me today. We've been chatting a little bit beforehand, so now we're getting to the official, recording of this. But I appreciate that you are here with me today. I think back so often to your dystopian type novel, The Return, and how the AI system runs amok, I guess we shall say. But I think about that one a lot. And I'm going to jump right into the first question with that one because when did you write this? Like what year? It came out in 2024, right?
It did.
But you were kind of ahead of the curve on this topic, I think, right?
Well, I started researching because I always liked tech. And so I was researching a lot about AI and I discovered that this was years ago that the plan was not just artificial intelligence, but artificial general intelligence, which is machine learning and teaching the intelligence to think on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And like instead of you programming it, it would be able to actually process and come up with ideas of its own. And I got very fascinated by that. And the more I started researching it, the more I thought, I think these people are trying to create a consciousness.
Yes.
And so that got me thinking about a book. And like you, I write thrillers or mysteries, and that's part of being the Blackbirds, right? We write dark crime fiction. And so I thought, when I told my agent about it, he was like, well, that's a career killer. He was not interested in representing this book at all, The Return.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm so glad you have that handy. I read on my e-reader all the time. I don't have my covers handy.
yeah, I have a physical book. See the
I
little
love it.
eye on the spine?
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, and I've never seen the physical book. So I've just seen the cover, so I've
There
never
it
seen.
is.
That is so cool that you did it that way. I always love that her face wasn't the full face, but
Yeah, well,
that was so
that was the
very well.
designer. His name was Scott. His name's Scott Templeton, and he's with a company called Scooter Digital. Give him a little shout out.
Sure.
But yeah, and then there's a reason that you see the nice natural flowers, but then these sort of digital mountains in the background. And why she looks like a normal girl, but then she's got this kind of strange computerized eye, because that's really what the book is about. Is I didn't want to write just about AI because I know there's so many. I mean, there's like, that story Ex Machina, Ex Mach.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that's such a classic, great AI gone amok
Yes.
story. I wanted to write. I really wanted to address the idea that they were trying to create a consciousness and what that would mean to people who already have a consciousness, and that's what prompted The Return. And so when you ask when did I started researching this about 7 years before. So I was already writing my mysteries and books, but
Mhm.
I got my subscription to Wired magazine and I started interviewing some people from MIT. And the scariest thing to me was when people I'd interview would say, whatever you know of now, we're 5 years ahead of you.
Oh,
It's
right.
already,
Right. Well, and that's why a lot of people say, like we're very reactive right now to AI in like creative circles, right? And it's a conversation that's being had at a lot of conferences or, in author groups or creative groups or artists. But other people that are in the tech world are like, yeah, this like, this is from how long, like how many years back was this already a thing for us. It's just that it's sort of like the public consumption or the public knowledge of it is now, higher.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's a funny thing. I every technology that I put in there was based on real research and what they're working on. And at some point the book is going to become obsolete because we're going to be way past. But, thankfully again, it's not so much about AI as it's about returning back to a time where we have to rely on our own skills
Yes.
again. Um, Basically, it's the setup of AI is just the beginning. What
Mm,
really happens is that these intelligences that we become so used to and dependent on, like even now with ChatGPT,
mhm.
or you can ask ChatGPT what shirt you should wear, and
Yeah, it's
I
like
put
it's like your buddy.
yeah. And the thing is that if we don't exercise this muscle, what happens to it? And so I sort of set up this world where you have people completely dependent on automation, completely dependent on an artificial general intelligence who is basically running their life, running their world, telling them what to wear,
Yes.
running their car. They don't even have to open a door. There's no such thing as doorknobs.
I actually I love this scene, and this is very early in the book where people cannot get out of their cars or their houses because
Right.
it's all part of their smart vehicle, smart home, and all of a sudden the systems have stopped. And there is a scene too, like where people need to cook and they don't, I mean, they
They
don't
don't
know
know
how to
how.
do it anymore. So there's parts of your book like the returning to the knowledge base, and I think about like all the things like my mom knows that I never absorbed growing up. Like I'd done some canning, I've done some of that stuff, but just things that were daily knowledge, like very obvious things that you would have known how to do. How even in a non-AI way, we kind of left those behind because, well, we don't worry about that anymore. We don't do it that way anymore. So I think in that way, that premise or that, the plot point in your book may stay evergreen. Even if the tech is slightly different, the idea that we should really understand how how to do things the old-fashioned way.
Well, if what happens if you have no more lighters anymore? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the part in the book where he tries to get this camping stove. And he's an oddball because he even has a camping stove.
Right.
But it's a camping stove that has a self-starter, so you shouldn't need to light it. And it's broken, so he can't use it. But there's no lighters, there's no matches, there's because everything you don't need them. And what happens if everything goes dark and the grid burns out? And in this book, The Return, there's actually a war that becomes at
Mhm.
first online, sort of nobody knows about it. And then what happens is it becomes a conventional warfare where we're going to attack another country, but that other country hacks into our weapon system and uses our own weapons against us. And in order to stop this chaos, the artificial general intelligences just commit specieside, which means they kill
Yeah.
themselves.
Yes.
And that means, and they don't just kill themselves, they don't just go dark. They burn the grids, they burn transformers, they burn the data centers, they burn everything out because they just kind of don't know these general intelligences actually hit a wall where they can't figure it out anymore. And so that just leaves these human beings just skillless, pretty much instinctless, and having to fend for themselves.
Well, and I like, so I read a lot of dystopian books, and it's always about the human reaction to whatever disaster is being presented. And really, I always think too about like how many days away, like without power, without water in our homes, like how many days away are we from like complete catastrophe before, we have anarchy in the streets? It's not that many days.
It's not that many days. And you saw what happened in the book is they start looting the stores almost
Yeah,
immediately,
yeah.
because there's a panic, and there's the panic for survival. And yeah, it was kind of a fun book because it was sort of a commentary on what would happen. But to me, the most interesting thing as I was writing it was that they do go back through the steps of all the ages. Like they do have an Iron Age, they do have an age of agriculture because you have to. If you're
Yes,
going to feed a population, you're going to have to find a way to get beyond hunting and gathering.
right,
And
of course.
so, but then what happens is they start, as they develop, the human beings also start returning to technology. They want the technology, but then there's a little skew.
It's good. It's a good book. I still think about it, and I'm trying. I mean, I read it the year it came out, so here we are 2 years later, and every once in a while, I'm like, oh yeah, like something reminds me of the book, and I'm like, so I think
That's
that's a,
good.
a hallmark of a good book is when it sticks with the reader.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thanks for reading it. It was something that I just felt I had to write, because it's kind of crazy. And the whole idea of these tech giants, you got when you have money and then you got power, what's the next thing you want? Do you feel you can play God, in a
Yes,
way,
yes.
and creating something that has a consciousness. Like the argument to me always was you think that you have a soul, you think that there's such a thing as God.
Mhm.
But their attitude, a lot of the attitude is that whole idea of a great source, which is what I put in my book as sort of a God-like figure, um, is just you needing to attach something because life is scary or whatever. And their attitude is what you think is inspiration is not inspiration. That's why they're pretty sure that they can create a consciousness and have it also have inspiration. Because they say that the claim is that inspiration and what you think is a fresh idea is just an amalgamation from the dark matter of your brain, that you have a storage cabinet in here from the time that you were born with all the
Yes,
things that you've ever seen and everything you've ever heard and everything you've ever gathered. And you're not doing anything different than ChatGPT does. When
right.
ChatGPT pulls from all these things to come up with a new idea for you, you're doing the same thing, which I thought was really fascinating. I
I
don't I don't
I think
believe
it
it.
is.
Huh?
I think that is fascinating.
Yeah, I don't believe it. And this is what I put in the book because when the main character Aiden is getting this argument from, I don't know if you remember the character Dr. Lizzie.
Mhm.
She was the person in charge of the general intelligence for the United States. She was the sort of the watchkeeper kind of person who make sure that
Sure.
everything's running right on the tech side, her and her team. But she's arguing with him, having that argument, and he says back, but what about moments when I can finish someone else's sentence or someone was going to call me and I knew who it was? How do you
Yes.
explain that? How am I getting that from the dark matter of my
Yes.
brain? You
Yes.
know?
Yeah, there's so many things. And in fact, something happened this week and I need to reach out. This is a friend of mine whose son was in the same class as my son, and he unfortunately passed away in a motorcycle accident.
Oh,
And I haven't
wow.
thought about, I don't think about this kid all that often, but the other day I was driving and I was like, oh, I just had the thought about what a fun kid he was and whatever. And and I didn't have this in my memory bank. It was the anniversary of his death date.
Wow.
Isn't that like, you know what I mean? Things like that, right?
Yeah.
That's
I
kind of
mean, you can think of all kinds of coincidences
yeah.
where, uh, and I just, yeah, okay, could be a coincidence, but I'd like to think that it's not.
Well, and I agree with you. There've been too many things in my life that I've seen in you too, or referencing them, things that just don't make coincidence doesn't cover
Yeah. And
it.
I don't know. I just I don't believe it. I do believe there's something else out there, but that is the argument, and it's a good argument because it makes sense. It does make
Yeah.
sense. I just don't believe it.
So before I did, so I'm switching gears. Before I did the interview, I went back and I went to your website to read your full bio. I mean, I've known you for a while now through the Blackbirds, but I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever like read your whole bio. We have something very odd that in common from our work backgrounds. You had once been a supervisor in a telemarketing center,
I
which,
didn't admit that for a long time.
oh my gosh. Oh no, it's a horrible job. I think it's a horrible job. I did it too. And I was doing it for political fundraising, which adds a layer of whatever onto it.
Wow.
But I am curious, did you enjoy any parts of that job?
You know, I stayed at that job because, okay, I'll tell you why I took that job. I had been working for full time for
Mhm.
CBS Records, and I had access to Laker tickets. I live in Los Angeles, Dodger tickets. I mean, back then it was the wild, wild west out here, so got free limo rides. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it was fun, but at that time I also wanted to I also wanted to start writing, and I had the dream. I was in my 20s and I had the dream of being a writer, and I thought, well, if I don't try it now, and even if it fails or something, I got to at least give it a try. So I looked in the newspaper and it said part-time hours for full-time pay, and I didn't care what that
It's like,
was. I was just going to get that job. And I had never been a supervisor in my life. And in fact, when I went out, it was the kind of it was for the Daily News, the Los Angeles Daily News. So it was a
oh,
newspaper,
yes.
and it wasn't for like editorial or things like that. It was to sell the newspapers. So, and I wanted the day shift because you worked from 9 to 1 and then you were off. And so I could spend the entire afternoon writing. Well, I had a boyfriend at the time and he was like, "Are you crazy?" My parents, "Are you crazy? Don't give up your full-time job." And I was just that crazy. So I quit with I signed off from all the people I knew at Columbia Records going, "I'm going to become a famous writer. Goodbye." And
And you
and
did. And you
and
did.
oh, thank you. That Valerie says it. Yeah, so then I took this job and it literally was in the basement. And I called the day shift the worst shift because at night shift you had normal people that had been holding down full-time jobs that just needed extra money.
Yes.
I got all the people, and there was like 30 people in the room that had trouble holding full-time jobs. I had anger management people problems. I had people of questionable backgrounds that, that also,
Yes.
anyways, I got a little bit of the problem children, but I'll tell you what I loved about that job. It was the first time I realized I could manage people and do it well. It was the second time that I mean, it was the first time I realized that I could motivate people that because I only got paid if they made their quotas, like a certain quota.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it taught me only once in a while did I get on the phone. And the only reason I got on the phone to make a sale was if I wanted to then give that sale away as like in a contest, a
Oh,
freebie. And we
got
called them a freebie.
got it. And then it would be attributed to somebody else to
Exactly. They would
right.
take it.
Got it.
I never had to sell myself unless I did that. And I did that often because I wanted to get freebies for people to motivate them. But I remember one guy was a woodworker and he made me this spinning wheel. And sometimes I would go out and I would buy like little, I don't know if Starbucks was there back then, maybe not, but little,
Yes.
prizes. And
Yes.
okay, whoever gets the next sale, we're going to put you in a drawing for a wheel, spin of the wheel. And they loved getting up there and spinning that wheel.
Yes.
And so there were a lot of things that I really liked about that job, even though it was what most people would consider the bottom of the barrel. I mean, I was a college graduate. You certainly didn't need a college degree to be there. Um, but I learned so much about hiring, firing, training people, motivating people. These were things that I brought into my husband's business years later that were indispensable.
Yes.
And so for that reason, I look back now as an older adult, and I think as much as I got such flack for being there, like from my family, from friends, um, one of the best, I still have the card. It was when I was leaving. I think I got recruited actually from that job, and I went to go back working full time. But I spent a lot of time there, and I did get a lot of writing done during that time, and I really felt as though my life was my own.
Well, and wasn't this the basis for the play you wrote? This
Yeah.
job?
Yeah, it was the people because mostly everyone in there just dreamed about being someone else. So the play was called Follow Your Dreams, and I co-wrote it and co-produced it with my friend Ronnie Jacobs, who's passed away since. But I pulled him out of retirement. He had been a writer, director, producer for I Spy, Mod Squad, Andy Griffith
Oh,
Show,
famous
all of these
stuff.
old time, old
Yeah.
television. And I knew him and I said, "Hey, Ronnie, you want to get out of retirement and do a play with me?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Pitch it to me." So I pitched him the idea and we took it. He was best friends with Gary Marshall. We took it to Gary Marshall and we said, because Gary Marshall had a theater in Toluca Lake, it's still there.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you know how Gary Marshall used to talk, but he'd be like, "You got 9 people in this play." He goes, "I'm not going to put anyone on my stage more than four, you know?" He goes, "Insurance is going to kill me. Are you kidding?" So we went ahead, but he did come to the play. We had a couple of good celebrities that came to the play. Um, and it got good reviews and it ran for 8 weeks. And it was all about people. It was called Follow Your Dreams. And it took place in one room in a telemarketing room.
That's
And it was inspired because of my work at that job. So
isn't
nothing,
that fun? See?
yeah, it
I think that's neat too. And I like me, you're a storyteller, and I like the way we can, present story in different ways. So, you focus on novel writing, but to do a play, I mean, it's just exercising a different, part of your brain in a way to create that. But you're still storytelling, the
it
core.
was hard work, but I loved it. I loved going to those rehearsals. I loved seeing people on stage saying those lines. I can't tell you, I had a smile on my face every day. And it was hard work. It was
Yeah,
hard. And, you
a
know,
lot of hours, a lot of hours.
but it was like a dream come true for me. It was just so fun. And we did try to make it go on. We tried to take it to bigger theaters.
Mhm.
I think it was the 9-person cast. People just, unless you're on a big Broadway stage or
Yes.
something,
Yep. It was like
smaller
Gary Marshall
stages.
going, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, that was just funny. He's like, "Are you nuts? You have 9 people." Um, but
Oh,
he was really good. And he actually, one thing that I'll savor forever is he came up to me and he said, "Don't ever stop writing, kid."
aw.
Yeah, that was
That's
so good.
a wonderful compliment from someone who's created some of our most loved characters in TV shows, and right?
Yeah, he was just
Yeah.
he it was really good. And yeah, and Ronnie was Ronald Jacobs. His name
Yes.
is Ronald Jacobs. You can look him up. He's around there. But he was also a really dear friend of mine and a writing mentor. And he's the one that always said, if you're going to have a villain, you better make him a worthy adversary. Don't write a cardboard villain. Give
Yes.
him depth.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. So that's a good segue to the next question, which is perhaps it would be a villain, but I don't know. Who is the most stressful character you've ever written and why? Or who is the hardest one to write, maybe?
Um, I would say the hardest character for me was probably Gabriel McCrae because I was writing from a man's viewpoint
Ooh, sure.
and all those 4 books are from a man's viewpoint.
Mhm.
And I think I did maybe on purpose accidentally give him a lot of female, sensitivities, but I always had to remind myself, how would a guy handle this?
Yes.
How would a guy who was a traumatized guy who was also a detective with rage issues? So
Mhm.
I always had to reset and think, how would Gabriel handle this? Not Laurie, how would Gabriel handle this? And I think um, that was probably challenging, but also he became such a beloved character with like, well, I know my mom liked him. So I think that at least I made him a likable character because he was tough. He was not likable at
Mhm.
first when you first meet him.
Mhm.
And I think whenever you have a character that you're going to take that chance with, that someone may not like them so much in the right from the get-go, that's a big challenge. You got a challenge on your hands.
Yes, yes. And then you feel it's really one of your bigger sense of accomplishments, probably as a writer, when people say they like them or they appreciate, the character
Yeah.
that you created. Do you have one that's more that you would think is your most delightful character to write?
Right now, and again, I'm not sure if this is just because I'm still in the book a little bit, but the book that's going to come out later this year called "Tell Me You See It," and that's back to psycho thrillers. She's fun to write because she's bipolar, but she's controlled, and I like, after doing the research on that and talking to psychiatrists and trying to get a feel for what kind of character this would be and what her challenges would be. Um, they said, you have every right to make her have an attitude toward her illness, have a quirkiness and sort of a humor, taking some of it with humor, which is very healthy. Um, and so that's been fun to write
Mhm.
because I like her. She's quirky,
That is
and
fun.
part of it's due to her illness, and part of it's due to her attitude toward her illness.
I think that's true. Like I think about the how I would answer this question, and it's the quirkier characters that are so fun to write. I
Like you have one, I'm sure that you are thinking
Yeah.
of.
Well, I mean, and then sometimes it's not the main character. Sometimes the one that's super fun to write is the sidekick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 And sometimes I think I've probably given myself more freedom with the sidekicks to be like, I don't know, like you can be less constrained maybe with them because they aren't on the page all the time. Um, I
Good
don't know.
point.
I don't know.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that is a good point.
I just,
Gabriel has a sidekick, and I could put a lot of like he has a lot of eating quirks,
oh,
and that was fun to write about him because he's like gluten-free, lactose intolerant. He's just all these things that he's just like, no, I can't eat that. And he's really rude at restaurants. And so it was just fun for me to write him. He's a good guy. His name is Dash.
I will I'm below this video on my Substack, I will link to your books. And so people will see the covers and the description so they'll understand the series that you're talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Wonderful.
So if we switch to writing process a little bit, what is something about your writing process that you think is really weird?
Um, what do I think is weird about my writing process?
I mean, maybe there's nothing weird about your writing process, but
The problem is I don't think it's weird. Someone else looking at it might think it's weird. Um, I guess I don't know that I have anything that I think is weird. Like I don't listen to music. Some people I've tried, and I don't lay out a lot of I tried the Just Lurie system of filling out all these little index cards for one book, and that book has never seen the light of day because it became mush after that. So I guess my writing process is I write up a very light outline,
Mhm.
so I know where I'm going. But I don't do a chapter by chapter. I've tried it, and it just I can't because I have to write a little bit organically.
Yes.
um, but I don't do anything like I don't have to have like a cup of certain kind of tea and a cigarette or anything like that. It just have computer will travel. If
Yes.
I can plot myself anywhere, I'm pretty good at tuning people out. So even if there's some noise or something, I get into sort of a zone. But maybe if someone like watched me and they thought, wow, that's really weird what she's doing. But from where I'm standing, I don't think it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, I don't do anything super weird. I mean, what's weird right now is I haven't had time to write for a while. So that's the weird thing for me right now. But I mean, like, you're right, like the OCD type things where you've got to have everything lined up perfectly on your desk and then you can write or whatever. Like, I don't,
No,
yeah.
I always remember from the story Misery how
Yes.
he would have a bottle of champagne and a cigarette or something at the end of when he finished his books. And I'm thinking, I thought that was so cool when I read that. I thought, oh, I forgot his name. What was his name? Oh,
Oh, the guy in Misery? I don't know. We should remember that.
anyhow,
We'll figure it
um,
out.
she, but I always thought, wow, I finish a book and I just put the end. I don't have like a bottle of champagne and a
Well, you know
cigarette.
what? We should change that and we should all be getting bottles of champagne now for
We
ourselves.
should.
And perhaps we don't even share that bottle of champagne with anyone. We just drink the whole dang thing.
I don't I guess because for me writing has always been because with kids, and you know this too, you have
Yes.
kids, you've worked, when you've had other things in your life, writing and getting that time is such a privilege and so meaningful that I don't even have the breath or the room to get weird about it, or I
Yeah.
have to have everything like this,
Like
and I
so
have to
precious. Yeah.
have use this kind of pen, you
I do have
know.
my favorite kinds of pens though. I mean, I do,
Do
but
you?
can I function without this pen? Yeah, I can.
Well, this is a Uniball, and I love
Yes.
Uniballs.
Yes. And this is an Energel. See, I really like the Pentel Energels.
Oh, I'll have to
I do. I
try
just,
that.
you know, like whatever. But if this is not at my desk and I'm out of them, I can still function.
Now, I do have something that is only just a recent addition. I knew that the writer Anne Perry, do you know Anne Perry? She wrote the William Monk series. It was
Oh,
historical
okay. Uh-huh.
mysteries.
Yes.
Um, and I got to know her, and I got to know, and she had a big easy chair, and that's what she would write, but she used, pen and
You
paper.
read it. You read it a computer though,
I
yes?
write in a computer,
Yep.
but that's what she did. Then she had this little tiny nook, and then she would go and she would sit and she would write in this little, it wasn't even an elaborate desk, this little tiny nook under a stairway that she would write in. And so when my my mother passed away and we were dividing up everything, um, I took this that you can see behind me. Can you
You're
see
the
it?
chair.
It's the chair. And so I have an Anne Perry chair, and I created this whole little setup for myself. I don't know if you can
I
see
can see. Oh, look at that. Yes.
with the table,
Yes.
and
You're set.
that's where I write.
There you go. Nice and cozy.
Nice and cozy.
So
And
you're just
yeah.
describing these little nooks, and you were mentioning that your daughter went to the University of Wisconsin, Madison,
Mhm.
and there were the stacks, the library, like Memorial Library, very austere metal, like cage-like desk areas with like a little light. And if you wanted
Wow.
serious studying to get done, where you couldn't be distracted by your friends over at the popular library, like Helen C. White, you know, and I don't know. It always creeped me out. These little.
Would you write there? Did you ever
No,
write
I
there?
mean, at that point, I wasn't doing anything more than writing papers. I did study there a few times when I was in dire need of finishing a project and I was having trouble focusing. But it was too austere for me. It was, and a little lonely and creepy because they'd have these in the middle of these, giant rooms of shelves, and they'd be like kind of a little too out of the way. And was it entirely safe? I don't even know, right? Like for a woman. I don't know.
I don't know. I used to love the stacks at UCLA.
Yeah.
I thought they were really same thing, kind of cool. Um, the only problem is, like, this is the reason that I don't go to a library or anything because I know you, like you too, as a writer, you observe people. So if there's something to observe, I'll go off of the writing and I'll just observe.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be distracted. I can't be distracted like that. So even going to, like, I don't know how writers of old, like I went to a coffee shop with a cigarette and coffee, and I don't know how they did that. I can't do that.
No, no, I need to have quiet and I can do other work at coffee shops. I can get a lot of stuff done, but it can't be that kind of level of concentration writing.
No.
Not where I'm creating a whole world with dialogue. No. Uh-uh. So
Yeah.
I mean, I know we both know writers who still will post, "Hey, I just, I'm you're looking out at the Starbucks, from their picture that they've showed that they're, having their coffee and writing the great American novel at
Wow.
Starbucks."
It sounds good. It sounds
Yeah,
good. I can't do it,
I
but
can't do it
that sounds good.
either. So could you ever quit writing?
No.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I don't know if you ever went through this, Valerie, but I think every writer at some point, especially when so much of your worth and I think at that time you're maybe entertaining the idea that you're going to become a big best-selling novelist and make a lot of money off of it. Um, and then when things are harder and you hit walls and you don't, you know, then I think it's very easy to think, why am I doing this? Why don't I just go to law school, become a lawyer, and then I don't have to deal with this and I can have a name tag. I think I love having the name tag of author. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm creative at it, and I've always wanted to have a creative life.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that I haven't worked in other things and I haven't made money in
Right.
other ways, but it's I could never quit writing. I'll just keep doing it until I can't do it anymore.
That's what I was thinking too. And I will ask people, I will work with other authors, and sometimes, you're disheartened. You're working with someone who's, maybe they've been on submission, they've got a lot of rejections, whatever. And, they're at that point, like, why am I doing this? Even if nobody was reading your work, I mean, is there something inside you? You would always be writing stories, you would be creating. And usually the answer is when they really think about it, that that's such a part of them. The writing of story, it'd be very sad if no one ever got to read it, but you still would have that need, to create that way.
Yeah, and there's
Like,
other things like
yeah.
um, I've recently been hired to help a woman write her memoir.
Mhm.
And I said, I don't write memoirs. I can't really help you. But she said, I'd like to hire you to write it as a story.
Oh,
And
so like narrative nonfiction.
exactly. Thank
Yes.
you. I didn't even know what it was called.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm actually working on that. And I thought, well, even if I run out of ideas, I could help other people turn their
Yep.
stories
Mhm.
into something viable that they can pass down to their families or
Yes.
there's all kinds of things. I don't know. I'm just, at this point now, I'm just taking it as it comes.
That's it. Well, and the ideas keep coming, right? So you had mentioned what you were working on now, the newest novel. Are you getting close to, is it, or you already finished with that one?
It's done. It's
That one's
done.
done.
It's just in the hands of my agent at this point, and we'll see what happens with that.
Well, best of luck with that. What are you reading right now? What do you like to read? The same things you like to write?
Reading one of the Blackbirds Under the Kissing Bow, which is historical mystery
Yes.
by gosh, I'm gonna have to get it out.
Oh, it is Sharon
Sharon
Michael
Lynn? No, Sharon Michael Love. Yeah,
Michael up, right, out
yeah,
of Chicago. Yep.
yes.
Yep.
So I'm
I have
reading
not
that.
read that one. That one's queued up. I need to read that one. Yes.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. So shout out to Sharon. And then also I finished at Theo of Golden, which is not a mystery, but
Yes. Did you love it?
no.
That's it. People love it, or they're like, yeah. Isn't
You
it
know,
interesting? Because everyone's talking about Theo of Golden, or they have been.
yeah, I'm not saying I disliked it. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't think it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. It was I'll tell you what, I put a review out on Goodreads on it. And I'm very honest there. I think it was I don't want to give away any spoilers, but I think it was a good book. It was beautifully written. For
Mhm.
a first-time novelist, he writes just so beautifully. It's a very calm book. It's a calming book. So you automatically just calm down when you read it, which is very nice. It's all about nice things. I just thought that the ending was a little bit of a cheap shot.
Okay.
That was my thing.
There we go. Well, when I read it, I'll circle back and I'll let you know if I agree.
Okay, let me
That's been
know.
on the list for a while too. The other one that's been on my list is Yesteryear, which is about a trad wife influencer who gets sucked into some sort of time travel. And I have not read the full
You know,
description on that, but
you know what? You're the second person to tell me about that.
yep. And I kind of think it's funny in part because, okay, I had shown Lori, for everybody who's watching this, the farm field that I live in. And there's like the round hay bales out there right now. It's very picturesque here in the middle of
Very
Wisconsin.
pastoral.
It is. There's a definition of pastoral there. So and just kind of laughing about that. But yeah, so the whole trad wife thing I think is a hoot because people are running around like chasing their chickens in like a gingham dress. And I'm like, yeah, nobody does farm work in anything but like, you know, boots and a whatever, like jeans or, or shorts if it's hot, whatever. And it just makes me laugh because it's such a manufactured thing. But then to have somebody get stuck in an age where it's not a delight to bake your sourdough. It's a requirement. If you want bread, you're going to have to be baking your bread. So I am
Wow.
excited to read that, just for like, I don't know, the juxtaposition with an influencer being stuck, you know in the
I think
real
that's a great idea.
So is there anything you want to add before we wrap up? It's been a delight to talk with you today.
No, I just thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show, The Aside, and all the great work you do. And you're a fabulous writer and also a marketer. You're just
Thank you.
you got it together, Valerie.
Well, and I'm also just really nosy, which is why I like to do these interviews. And it's like, hey, what about,
Yeah.
So then I get to ask
Yeah.
nosy questions.
No, it's been a delight. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. That's today's conversation on the aside. If you would like more conversations like this, just off the page, be sure to subscribe.